And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a long time. Even Gladys is sort of short in how long it's been. Like 3 months. A lot has happened. My life changed considerably, and as a result, yeah, I had stuff to do. I had things to take care of. So let's talk about the changes. Firstly, I've grown a glorious beard. Yes, thank you very much. It's nice. Secondly, you might hear the occasional buzzing noise, and that's because just over my shoulder, you can see my Anycubic Photon, which is, well, Photon Mono 4K, which is currently printing. So I can't stop that, and I'm not going to stop that. But yeah, I've been 3D printing some models recently as well. What else is new? I have a new job, much more secure than the previous one. I'm enjoying it a lot more. It's much nicer. It has a roster, so I can predict what days I'm going to have off, which means I can, if not set a schedule, because the days that I have off still kind of rotate in a weird fashion. At least that fashion is now predictable, so I can, you know, say, all right, I'm going to be live this day. I'm not going to go too much into that now, and I'm not going to try and set it up now, but I will be trying to do it. So it's been a long time. I didn't know what I was going to stream. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to stream. I'm going to try and get back into it. It is something I wanted to keep doing. I didn't stop doing. The Grounded series is most likely dead. It's been months since I played Grounded. I did continue to play it in single player a fair bit after the last streams. And I do still have a few YouTube videos to edit and upload, which I don't know when I'm going to get around to, but I might get around to it. Those of you that know me know I hate editing videos. It takes too long. And I wanted to play something and I didn't know what I wanted to play, and there wasn't anything really suitable except for the one super controversial game, which, yes, I am playing. Other than that, no, I'm not going to stream it. It's okay. I don't think it's the best game in the world. Not even going to talk about it, not even going to name it. You know what it is. But what I did decide I felt like playing is I felt like playing a colony sim. And there's this little gem that I've had for a long time. Like, I don't know when it came out. And that is this one. It's called StoneHearth. It's by a company called Radiant Games. I don't know whether they've made any other games. They're an indie developer, and this was independently published. It wasn't even published under a different company. And it's pretty good. It's one of those games where you tell the people what to do, but you don't have direct control over the people. To any major degree, you can sort of give them some concept of where to go and what to do, but you can't individually like control their life by getting down and clicking on them and telling them what to do. You can click on them to find out what they're carrying and what their plans are and so on and so forth, but that's about it. Now, it's a good game. It does have a bit of randomness to it. I mean, the worlds are random, and you don't know what you're going to get. So I find these to be very much difficulties. The Ascendancy is the easiest one. So you choose different sort of starting position, what they're good at. It's not really difficulties. If you've never played it before, you want to start with the Ascendancy, but if you have played it before, you can start with any of them, and you know, they have different things about them that are different. And some of them are more suited to some biomes than others, so let's just go with a basic game, because really I'm just playing something to get a stream on. I haven't had a stream in ages. We'll go with normal, select a roster. So you start with random characters. You kind of want certain things at the beginning, so we might roll a few times and see what we can get. I definitely want someone who wants to be a soldier. Oh, I do there. She already wants to be a soldier. Well, she's courageous. She doesn't necessarily want to be a soldier. Night Owl. There's a bit of a loner. Storm Chaser. I don't want two Storm Chasers that are both loners. Bit of a cultist. I've never actually seen the cultist thing come into play, but there's a bit of a cultist. So that one, charismatic. Yeah, okay. Yeah, look, I'm not going to worry too much about it. Opinionated. Yeah, that can get annoying. Let's get someone who's got a green thumb. because that's always good. I suppose you don't really need it, especially not at the beginning of the game. Let's just get a few people with different stuff. What's that? Quick. Featherweight. Okay, so he's fast unless he's carrying something, at which point he's slow. What's that? Empathetic. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. But not opinionated. Empathetic. There we go, that's nice. 2 night owls. Yeah, that doesn't make a huge difference. That'll be fine. Let's go with that. Alright. Start with food for days, because that's the one I normally start with. I'm not going to go too much into explaining the game. It's a game. It's pretty cool. It's got stuff in it. I like it. You might not like it. You might like it. I don't like that map. Give me a better map. That's not bad. Can we do better? Ooh. Kind of like that. Can get a good bit of mountain, some water. Decent bit of trees. Yeah, I like that. Let's start here. Right. So yeah, it's a colony sim. It's all about building a colony, but uniquely you have to build your buildings brick by brick. And you sort of plan them and then let the actual people try to build. Now, we have to actually place our town somewhere. And I'm going to do it. I want to be close to these mountains because eventually I'm going to want ores, and I don't want them to be too far away because that's annoying, but I also don't want to be too high up or away from the flatland resources. I don't want to be too near that ruin because goblins will settle there. I think this bit's nice. What's that? Oh, it's just one of those bunny statues. That's alright. I think I like this spot because it's not too far to the mountains from the plains down here. There's a bit of resources around the place. There's plenty of trees. So let's settle right there. So that's the start of your village. Now, let me see if I can remember how to play this game because it's been some time. Okay, what do I need to do? Well, I definitely need some crafting stations. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. How do I do that? I don't remember how any of this stuff works. It's been that long. Let's designate a storage zone, and let's say we want it this side of the fireplace, sort of in line with the fireplace, and we want it about uniform size, let's say 12 by 12. Sure, you could put everything in there, guys. It sounds like a plan. Okay, it's not that. It's... Aha! Change jobs. I do have extra jobs here. Right, so I have room for a carpenter and a farmer. Is anyone going to be good at being a carpenter? None of them are extra good at being a carpenter, so I guess it doesn't matter. So you become a carpenter. Well done, Amelie Boltloose. So she will go and pick up a saw and become a carpenter. And then I need someone else to become a farmer. I don't know whether I actually need a farmer this early, but oh well, let's start with a farmer. Right. Now, a strange bird. So this thing sort of tells you stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Found in banner, blah, blah, blah. What shall we choose? Why is it not giving me the banner? Is that because I'm in this? Ah, here we are. Pallets have 2 times. Banner of strength. Banner of cunning. No, I like banner of vitality. Random name, Juniper Side. That's us. Cool. Right. Now we do need to build a building. So, houses. So what you do is you actually build a blueprint first. And I don't want my houses to be too small, and I don't want them to be too big, and I want them to be a certain place. I think that's probably a good size. Let's go 12 by 12 like the other thing. Do they need a floor? I guess they do need a floor. I need to put a door in that. And I only have access to the basic wooden door, but that's alright. We can start with that and progress. We'll give them a window, because if you don't give them a window, they get sad. Gonna need some basic furniture, so it needs to have a bed in it, because otherwise, well, it's not really a house without a bed. Rotate the bed. Now, I need a carpenter's workbench. We'll place that here for now, because for now I just basically want that to be built. Now, it's going to have a roof. Let's put a basic roof on it. There's your basic roof. I think we're done. Is that a house? That's a house. Right. It's going to cost me 12 wood and 4 items of furniture, but that's fine. Let's build that. Excellent. Now, they have no resources, so I need to tell them to cut down these trees so they can get some resources. Let's start getting some resources together. Now, the thing I want to do is I want to move things like silkweed. Bright bells. Closer. Now, we'll be able to farm these things soon enough, but at the beginning of the game, you need to use the wild resources available to you. And I started with food, because if you don't start with food, that's going to be a big problem. Right, so let's make a little field here. Okay, 11 by 11 is as big as it gets, and we will just grow some turnips for now. Not the most amazing food, but it's food, and they will be happy to have that because they can actually eat it. Why is the carpenter's workbench not being constructed? Because I haven't gone in here and told them to make one carpenter's workbench. Oh. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so just using wood, they should be able to make a carpenter's workbench. Then using that carpenter's workbench, they can make all the other things that they need to make, and that's how that works. Yeah, so it's a little cutesy colony sim. You know, your little guys run around and they do stuff, and they do silly things like get themselves stuck on roofs, and you know, they farm and so on and so forth. And so there's a sort of a profession system that upgrades. So this is the basic profession system. So everybody starts as, you know, just a worker, but you can promote them to things like a footman, or a herbalist, blacksmith, carpenter, mason, farmer, trapper, weaver, and geomancer. And then later on, when they get good at being one of those things, so a footman that gets good, you can either promote them to being an archer or a knight. And to do that, you need to have that job's or that profession's requisite tool. Now, you can buy the tools from wandering traders, or a lot of the tools are actually made using other crafting stations. So, for example, once this carpenter has actually made a carpenter's bench, which he has, in fact, he's made 2 of them. That's disappointing. So until he places them, he can't actually make anything with it. But eventually, the carpenter's bench will get placed here, which is where I put it. And then the carpenter will actually start building the furniture and the house trimmings, so the door and the window frame. Now, the other things that the carpenter can build are tools. So the weaver's spindle, which is what you need to make your first tailor. Or wooden practice sword, first thing you need to make your first soldier. And you're definitely going to need a soldier. Now, the more the carpenter crafts, the better he gets, and the more things become available for him to craft. So when you get up a high enough level, you can make a farmer's hoe and a herbalist's staff, mason's hammer and chisel, archer's bow, shepherd's crook. Everything has different resource requirements as well. So, you know, some things you're going to need stone. Normally they light the hearth about now, and you know, they might even settle down around it. But we'll see. That sort of stuff will happen when it happens. So what else do I need to do? I do need to actually tell the carpenter to absolutely get around to making one of those, because I'm going to need a soldier soon enough. Chop down that tree as well. Is that not chopping that tree? Why don't you want to chop that tree? That's weird. Can't seem to chop these little trees. Happy to chop that big one. Well, that's alright. The big one should give me more than enough materials. Let's see. Right. Get out of that. Grow in some turnips, which will take however long that takes, and will at least give them something to eat. I don't know when they're going to place this carpenter's bench. I reckon they're probably going to finish off this entire building. Apparently leave a whole bunch of materials on the roof. Hey, there's the carpenter's bench. I've got another one now. Which was a mistake, but that's okay, because that means, you know, eventually they'll just... I can sell that second one to a wandering trader. Right. Now my carpenter's made the first window. So someone will eventually go and pick that window up and go and place it in the slot meant for the window. Splot. And then the carpenter's made the door, I think. And then someone will go and place the door. And the carpenter will make other things. I've got some oak tree seeds, so I can plant them to make more trees if I need to. Don't right now, but let's just demonstrate. I can plant an oak tree seed there and it'll grow an oak tree. Now, it's not necessarily for the farmer to do that. Or maybe it is, I'm not sure. But yeah, certain jobs can be done by anyone. Certain jobs can only be done by people with that profession. The other thing I'm looking for is I really need some silkwood. Ooh, yep, so now they've finished building the house. And we know they've finished building the house because it's got the bed in it, which means somebody now has a bed. So they get tired and they need to sleep. And if you don't assign a bed to a person, then it's everyone's bed and people will just take turns using the bed. And so for this initial sort of thing, because I've only got the one house so far, we're basically going to leave that there. But I am going to move the carpenter's bench inside the house, because eventually this will be the carpenter's house. So we'll put the carpenter's bench inside there. And yeah, now they're sitting around the hearth. At this point, they will socialize. They will sit around and chat. Aha! And now, courageous, you will be my soldier. So the carpenter did finish making that. She will go over. She'll pick up the sword and become my first footman. And so they no longer participate in building and so on and so forth. All they do is patrol around and protect the village. Occasionally wild monsters will appear. There's also like a storyline involving goblins, and these goblins will eventually appear and like start demanding tribute and things of that nature. Yeah, stuff happens. Right, let's build another house. Now I should have just saved that as a template. So when I build this house, let's leave a little bit of space between this house and the next one. Same size, 11 by 11 is good. I'll make the doors face each other, because why not? Let's rotate around so I'm looking at it from this side. That's a bit of a shame that I can't properly see because that's the damn way, but oh well. Okay, that is not the same size. Why is that not the same size? What did I do wrong there? Alright, let's destroy. Yes, let's start again. What happened? I don't know. It went wrong. Was it 12 by 12? It was 12 by 12, not 11 by 11. That's why. place a door there. Place a window. I said place a window. Don't know why it's having so much trouble placing the damn window. That's better. There, that'll be fine. I'm not sure if that's the exact same spot, but let's not get too bogged down. Mean bed. It's mean. Don't know why it's so mean, but it's mean. There we are. So, every day, at the beginning of the day, you get judged, and if you meet certain levels, you'll get a new villager, and they will... I don't know where they are. They're under the trees here somewhere. They'll just come in and join the village, and your population grows, and therefore you can fill out new and more jobs, and that's how that works. Let's gather those and those. Right. Where was I? I cancelled out of that building without building it, didn't I? Can I go back into it? I can. Excellent. Good. Roofs. Roofs? Roofs? Roof. The roof is on fire. Let's save. Yes. Build. That ought to work. So now again, the guys who are free and who are workers will build the building. The carpenter will spend time at her table and will build the other required things like a bed, a window, and a door. The farmer is now farming and has actually started collecting turnips. So, progress being made. Slowly but surely. Oak tree sprouting. Bright bell. Don't remember whether there's a way to get bright bell seeds. I think there is, I just don't remember how. Wild silkweed seed. That's what I'm looking for. Can be planted. Place. No. Yes. There we are. Wild bright bell seed. That goes there. So every time you harvest, you'll get a few more seeds. And there's basically a place items menu that just shows you everything that you have in your inventory. And then, yeah, we just place things where they need to be placed. So yeah, people are still taking turns to sleep in the one bed that is available, but soon there will be 2 beds available. And we will continue making more and more beds available as necessary. So let's just mine... Oh no. No. Cancel. No, I don't want you to mine that. How do I... cancel that mining? I need to go down a layer somehow? How do you go down a layer? Like that, but it's not showing me the hole that they're about to dig. Oh well, eventually they're going to dig a hole and I will have to deal with the fact that they dug a hole and fill it back in again. What I actually want them to do is... harvest? Ah, it's just harvest. Yes, mine out that stone, please. So she was getting hungry, or they were getting hungry. I have no idea whether it's a girl or a boy. But yeah, they will sort themselves out. They'll grab food and eat. They are less happy when their food is raw and unpleasant. But at the beginning of the game, that's not really a choice that you have. You kind of have to deal with it, and things will get better as you progress and get further into the game. And you can have a cook. I think a cook is an advanced... Yes. So a cook is an advanced farmer, so you have to get a level 2 farmer. There it is. You need to make a cook spoon, and you need a mason to do that. So I don't have a mason yet, because I don't have a mason's chisel, which is crafted by the carpenter. And I don't think my carpenter can craft it yet, because I don't think they've got it to a high enough level, because they haven't crafted enough things. Now I do need a weaver's spindle. That's a good one. Let's build our first weaver. Our first weaving thing. I don't think there's any other cool things I can make. Some lanterns would probably be nice. Let's build 4 lanterns. Place some lanterns around certain places. I'll build a carpenter's wall-mounted sign. Why? Because you need the carpenter to build things. If the carpenter isn't building things, the carpenter isn't getting better at carpentering. So you basically just want the carpenter to build stuff for the sake of building stuff. Now the other thing I might do is, in this little house, I might also get the carpenter to build... let's go with a writing desk. And the better wooden chair. And then we'll start placing those things. Right, now I think the carpenter's built, yes, the spindle, which means we can now promote a villager of some description. Oh, they're courageous as well, so that one. To the weaver. Now, every time you change a person to a particular profession, they do less kinds of work because they're busy doing the work that is their profession. But that doesn't mean that they won't help at all. I believe they still help build and stuff like that. So some basic things they will still do, but if you've got them actually working, they will be busy doing their work. Right, so I need to craft their assorted crafting stations. The first one I'm going to need is a loom. I'm not going to have enough bundles of fiber to craft the spinning wheel, but I'm going to tell them to do it anyway. Wait, what? Why didn't I do it? Ah, there we go. Yep. Queue order anyway, and we'll get them to craft a weaver workbench. So, eventually, when I've got the resources, they will be ready to craft it. So as soon as the resources appear, they will just make it. Until the resources are available, of course, they won't make it. Right, now. Wooden wall lanterns. So let's place a lantern on the buildings so that there's some nice lights around the place and people just feel more comfortable. Place that wooden wall lantern there approximately, which is about the same place as the other one. Okay, now this guy's gotten himself stuck on the roof. These things happen, which is why the game allows you to place ladders. So we'll place a ladder up to there, which he can build downwards, which is good. And yeah, now he is safe. And then you can remove the ladder. Because yeah, otherwise he would sit on the roof and slowly starve to death. It's just a thing that happens. So weird part of this game. Now, we've placed some outside lanterns. They look pretty. Let's place some inside lanterns so there's lighting inside the house as well. Let's say basically the exact same place, right next to the door. That's sort of the top of the door height. And one of these is actually the carpenter's workshop, so let's place the carpenter's sign above the door. Now, also added a desk. So these are comfort items, so the more of them they have, the more rich the resident feels. And when the resident feels rich, they are happier. And the more rich your village, the more you meet the richness. What's the word for it? It's a certain value requirement that gets checked every morning. Alright, and we'll place the loom in that one because that will eventually be the weaver's house. Now, I'm still not assigning beds. It's still too early. When I've got more houses and I sort of have enough beds to go around, or almost enough beds for one per person, that's when you start... Yeah, they've dug that hole. That's when you'll start actually... blocks. I just want a ground block. Well, okay. I'm going to have to fill this in with oak. So that ground becomes wood. It's not hugely important, but oh well. I just want... I didn't mean to make that hole, and now I've got a hole there, and I want to fill that hole in because it's annoying me. But yeah, so we will get rid of that hole. Let's get rid of that. I don't know why it won't harvest these trees. Maybe they have to grow up before they're harvestable. Right, has the carpenter... I think the carpenter leveled up, so... Yeah, now the carpenter can build better stuff, including new tools. But we don't want to jump to that just yet. It's a bit early. So what I do want is I do want the carpenter to make a shield for my footmen. Footmen can use that shield. They can build higher quality furniture now, so that's the cathedral arch chair and the dining table, which is better than the lower tier ones that I had before. Can build these big wooden double doors. I don't think there's any new windows or anything yet, but yeah, so as they get better, they'll build better things. When they get good enough, they'll start building things using more varied resources as well, so they will eventually start building things using more than just wood. Right, let's move these berry bushes, because these are a decent bit of free food. So we'll bring them closer to the village, and then I can tell people to harvest them for free food. Although we should be fine now. Like, basically the turnips turn over so fast that I'm probably going to have so many turnips I'm not going to know what to do with them. That being said, that's not going to last forever like that, and turnips do spoil, so eventually the turnips are actually just going to start rotting at a rate... I won't be able to eat all the turnips at the rate that they rot, but yeah, it will eventually start happening. It'll just take some time, that's all. Right. Yeah, can't make anything much of the weavers yet. Oh, yawn. Actually still a bit tired. I was up pretty late last night. I worked yesterday as well. It was a unexpected shift. Not entirely unexpected. I knew about it from a few days ago, but I wasn't rostered on. But then somebody else had to cover for someone else, and then I had to cover for them, which was weird. Yep, net worth, that's it. So my net worth is now massive, but food, we're going to start going low on food eventually. But we keep accepting people. Campton Pounder, wherever he is, will eventually join in. And it's time to build another house. Now, we did make a template called 3. Let's grab that. Now, there's already pre-built templates. You know what? Let's build a new template because we've got new furniture now. So let's leave a little gap because I don't want the houses to be too close together. And it's 12 by 12. That's what we were going with, so we'll go with that again. Right. Now, windows. Don't have a better window yet, but I do have a better door. So let's go with a wooden double door. The same window. I need to have walls showing to place a window in a wall. And let's go into furniture and see. We don't have much better... We still don't have any better beds, so we won't worry about that. We'll just place the one bed in it for now, and we'll put extra furniture in it later. So yeah, we probably won't worry with templates after all, because your carpenter develops pretty quick in the early game. Alright, so now they're building that house. Now Rufus Garrow has arrived with wares to sell. So he sells all these things. Now, mostly stone wares by the looks of stuff, and he's got some resources, which is pretty cool. But what I want to do is I actually want to sell, because I accidentally made a second carpenter's workbench, and I don't need it. So we'll sell that. Have I got anything else? I don't really have anything else I need to sell right now. So we'll be alright. That will do. Thank you very much. What is the matter with them? Morale. My meal was raw. Yes, it was. Slept in a shared bed. Yes, you did. Yeah. Not much I can do about that. Anyway. It'll get better. It'll get better. It'll just take time. I don't know why he's just standing there. What have you done? Oh, you just got bored or something. Periodically they will do stuff like that. They'll just stand around and do nothing for a bit. I mean, every now and again at work, you're just like, you know what? I am just going to waste some time because I have been working hard all day and I am going to take a little bit for myself. So let's make 2 lanterns because we're going to want some lanterns. Let's make a chair and a dining room table. What else is good? Don't really need anything else just yet. Could make some window boxes. They look pretty and they keep the carpenter busy. Oh, and he should have made a shield. So where is my soldier? Where is my soldier? Asleep. Now there's a way to do their equipment. Oh, yes, so they picked up the buckle automatically. So that's excellent. So yeah, eventually you're going to want 2 soldiers. That's just, you know, combat effectiveness. It's better than 1. Because eventually you're going to want to turn... Oh, here we go. Invaders approaching. So these things are coming. So everybody in the village will kind of panic. But the soldier will go straight in for them. And start taking them on. So these little rock monsters... So I'm doing damage to them. They're the white hearts. And I am the red heart. Or my villager. So it's not like 1 segment per hit for the villager. They have a lot more hit points than that. So yeah, it sort of degrades pretty slowly. And they will rest up between battles and recover their hearts slowly. And what you can do later is you can actually make... There's a kind of healer who can heal people magically. That's an advanced herbalist, actually. There we go. And now they're pleased with themselves because they've managed to kill that thing. And this hunk of stone is gatherable, harvestable, gatherable. Yep. So it's loot. I mean, it's not very impressive loot, but that piece of stone is still considered loot, and as a result, you need to tell someone to go and pick it up and bring it back, and that will add more stone to my stone. I can harvest my silkweed again, which will give me a little bit more of that. We'll also harvest some more bright petals, because why not? And with a little more silk, I might have enough to make the next weaver's tool. We'll see. Are we running out of wood? Why are you guys just standing around? It does look like we've run out of wood, so let's chop down another tree. No idea why that's not harvesting. Better. Alright. Click and drag the entire square around it appears to work better than just clicking. Doesn't look like they've entirely run out of wood. There still seems to be a fair bit of wood left, but oh So yeah, it's a nice, calm, relaxing game. It's kind of cutesy with its little blocky style and no facial expressions except they've got well, not even eyeballs. They've got eyes. They've got pixel graphic faces on 3D pixelated characters. But it's a nice style. It's a very calm, relaxing game with a lot of depth to it. It does go very, very far. The inability to directly control your villagers. There are some things that you can do. You can command your villagers, your soldiers to do stuff. There it is. You can sort of tell them. So you can rally your Hearthlings. They're called Hearthlings because this is StoneHearth. And that will turn all of them sort of ready to fight. And they will fight with their fists, even if they're not soldiers. You can tell your combat party to go over there and fight. And when they get there, if there's nothing to fight, they'll just go home. But that's about the full extent of direct control you can actually have over your villagers. The rest of it is tell them to do things, and they do it. Or tell them, I need you to do this. And when they get around to it, they'll do it. But it's also when they get around to it. It's not like it's instantaneous. Alright. Doesn't provide a lot of light, does it? Oh well. Still finishing that house because they ran out of wood and now they've got more wood, and so now they'll eventually finish the house. Did I get any more bright bell seeds? I did not. But that's fine. I don't need more bright bell seeds. The silk's more important. The weaver will make more weaving tools. Ah, they already have. They've made the spinning wheel now. So now we can place a spinning wheel inside the house. So eventually this will become the weaver's house. And I will put storage in there that will store weavers' appropriate resources. And then they will fill up that storage rather than putting it in the generic storage first. And then the weaver won't have to travel as far to collect things that they actually need. Now, I'm probably not going to fit the weaver's workbench next to the bed. No, I'm not. So we will have to put that somewhere else. Let's say in this corner. Now we've also built them a table and a chair to make their house a little more comfortable. So let's put that there and there. This house is now finished. So I bring the walls up. I can place a lantern on the outside there, and then on the inside there. Which will make them a little more comfortable and me a bit richer. Once again, my net worth goes up whenever you place these expensive, not really expensive items, but these crafted items. No, we can't craft anything more yet. Okay, so I do want that herbalist because herbalist. Yeah, herbalist becomes a cleric. And clerics are great because they heal your fighters mid-fight. And that's basically essential when you get to higher levels of combat. When you start fighting more dangerous things. You will not survive without a healer. Your guys will just die. And that's no good. Alright, we might as well start constructing our next building, which I could have used a template for because it's not... we haven't developed any new furniture or what are doors and windows? What are they called in the construction industry? Anyway, let's place a door and a window, because you've got to have a window. You don't have to have a window, but I always give them a window. Get a window. It's pretty bare minimum, but you get one. Now, the other thing I could do is let's put the lanterns on straight away. Because there's no reason not to put the lanterns on straight away. So now then the carpenter will make the lanterns as part of building the house. And there will just be lanterns on the house. You can also make things like throw rugs, but we're not going to do that. And we will put in a dining table and a chair. I don't know if they can get into that. Maybe the chair needs to be further away from the table than that. Oh well. There's the roof. Build that, please. Alright, now the weaver should be able to make more things eventually. Winter worker outfit. Yeah, it's not cold yet, so we're not worried about that. But a cloth padded helm, that's good. So, spools of thread. You kind of need spools of thread, so I want to say maintain 3 of those in inventory at all time. Because you just need them too often. It's not worth not having them. Oh, leather. Yeah, leather takes ages, doesn't it? Oh yes, and bolts of cloth. So I want 3 of those as well, to be honest. You always want to have 3 spools of thread, 3 bolts of cloth. You kind of want leather, so to get... We're going to get another person. Excellent. And a merchant has rocked up, but I don't want to spend money just yet. Someone new has joined. Excellent. I need a trapper. I also need to not spit on my microphone, but, you know, that's a secondary concern at the moment. Trapper. Crafted by the mason, which means I need a mason so that I can craft trapper's tools. So it might be time to get the carpenter to make mason's tools. Mason's hammer and chisel. Yeah, and I do kind of need that herbalist already as well. Yeah, why not? Let's have them both. Alright, so the farm is fairly busy, but I'm going to make them more busy. I'm going to start another crop plot. This one's going to be for carrots. Soon I'm going to be getting a second farmer. So we're already up to 8 people from the 5 that we started with. And so soon I will go to 2 farmers because they will both be kept relatively busy. And eventually one of them will be in a position to become a cook, at which point I won't have a farmer. So that's how that works. Has achieved carpenter level 3. Nice. So now let's see what they can make that they couldn't make before. Reinforced wooden door. But yeah, I don't have iron ore, and I don't want to make reinforced wooden doors. It's quite some time before you start running into the problem of actually having monsters and stuff try to invade and kill your villagers inside their houses. But what I can make now are comfy chairs and beds. But of course it relies on bolts of cloth from the weaver. And the weaver is limited to just this little bit of silkweed that I've got. Because I don't think the farmer can... I suppose I can always find out. Can grow silkweed. No. So I need a farmer of level 2. So I need them to get to level 2 before we can start growing silkweed in large quantities. And then the weaver can really get to work and, you know, have resources abundantly just readily available. Until that point, we will have to go without. Now, why don't they have a dining room table and a... guess we'll find out. I would like you to put that there, and that there, and if I'm wrong, then I guess I'm wrong. But if I'm not, then the carpenter should make 2 more, 1 more each, to go in that house. Best guess? Not sure. We'll find out. What the hell is that? Oh, mason's chisel. Alright, time to promote someone to a mason. You'd make a good second... Yeah, you'd make a good second soldier when I get to that, so we'll promote this one to carpenter. And they will go over and they will pick up the carpenter's mallet. And they will hold it up in the air, and there will be... oh, no. Hop run, hop riff. And now, there's a mason crafting menu. So the first thing we'll get them to do is they need to craft their workbench. So we'll just start with that. Then they can add other things to beautify the settlement. So braziers. They can make these beds, which are richer, but I mean, who wants to sleep on a stone bed? Even if it is a stone bed with a mattress, it's still a stone bed. But there's other things like, you know, you can put bird baths around the place, and I can these lanterns are better. Nothing fancy, but okay. Look, that's their gold value and their appeal versus 3 and 6. You dig? So they're better. It makes your village more desirable by having things that took more to craft, and taking more to craft basically means crafted by the mason in this circumstance. All right, now they've crafted their crafting table, so we can place that. And this will be the mason's house because it's the next free house. And now that they have crafted it, when it becomes placed, they'll be able to place other things. Now the other thing we can do, stone doors, 2-6 versus, what are we using at the moment? That one, 8-10. All right, can you make a better stone door than that? He will eventually. And that's also 8-10. So we'll probably just get the carpenter to keep doing it. We'll keep the mason busy by building lanterns and stuff like that. Now weapons, stone maul. Eventually I'll be able to make that. That is an upgrade for the soldier. It does more damage. They will just use that. Yeah, and then tools, you know, there's the cook's spoon, there's the potter's cutter, blacksmith's hammer, and eventually the trapper's knife. But you need to be a level 3 mason to make the trapper's knife. That's exceptional. That's really high. But anyway. Alright, now I'm going to start replacing all these stone lanterns. So we've got a lot of stone lanterns to replace. Let's just make 8 for now. I think that's it, isn't it? 2 per house. We've got 4 houses. Have they run out of wood again, or what? I don't know. Alright, let's harvest the big ones and leave the little ones. More invaders, where are they? It's just more little stone dudes, so that's alright. The soldier will eventually spot that that's happening and get up and go. I said the soldier will eventually spot that that's happening and get up and go. I did say that the soldier... Ah, there they are. Again, see? You eventually take a little bit of damage, but not much. And that time, they blocked one. Managed to actually get a block in, which was good. I do like how they make, like, brick noises when they... It's kind of cool. See how far is my print now. 34%. So I have actually run into my first major problem with my 3D printer, and that is I have dented the FEP somehow. Now, for those of you that don't understand how 3D printing works, this is a resin 3D printer. There are two main kinds of 3D printers, and this one is a resin 3D printer. What it uses a build plate and then a... okay, let's go back. So, the other kind of 3D printer is like a dot matrix printer, and what it does is it goes dot of material, 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 and it keeps doing that until it builds the first layer of the thing, and then it goes up one layer and starts putting more dots on top of the first layer. What a resin 3D printer does is instead you have like a bucket, a vat, full of resin. Now that resin is a two-part epoxy resin, and it means that one part and the other part molecularly they combine and they form a polymer, which is just, you know, something that's kind of like a plastic. But those two polymers can't combine unless exposed to UV light. So the very bottom, underneath the vat, the bottom of the vat is transparent. Underneath the vat, there is a UV LED screen. Lights that project through a screen, and the screen is a LED screen. So the LED screen is just designed to go black. So what it does is when you try to print something, let's say a model, so most of the models that I printed are in translucent resin. I don't know how good this camera is going to be at focusing. Let's see. My preview's pretty far behind. And the ring light's getting a bit crazy and he's a bit shiny. Anyway, that is a beholder that I printed for D&D. So, when you try to print something like this, you use a program called a slicer, which slices it into layers. So if you can imagine, let's say just the very, very bottom, it's just a layer. Like as if you were to slice this thing with a knife or a meat slicer. It prints just that slice. And the slices that I am printing now, my resin and my printer are really designed for 5 micron. Is it 5 microns? I think it's 5 microns. I'm actually getting it to try and print at 3 microns to increase the detail, and it seems to be working fine. So I've been printing at that for a while. But anyway, so each layer is, you know, 0.05 millimeters thick. Each slice. So what happens is the LED screen looks at what the layer is supposed to look like. That 0.05 or 0.03 in my case layer is supposed to look like. It blacks out everything else and only lets the UV light shine through on what that layer is supposed to look like. The build plate is the thing that the model gets stuck to, and the build plate actually raises up. The model is actually printed upside down compared to what you would expect. So the build plate comes down. The LED screen exposes the little bit of UV light from the UV light panel below it. In just that layer, the build plate touches the bottom of the vat, or just barely doesn't touch the bottom of the vat, leaves the tiniest little space between it that the resin sits in, and exposes the resin to the UV light. The resin then can polymerize. The two-part epoxy can actually come together and form this plastic, but only in that spot where it was exposed to UV. Then the build plate lifts up, and then it comes back down again, but it comes back down as close as it can to the bottom of the vat, including the amount of space from the previous layer that was printed. And then it prints the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer. And slowly, bit by bit, it builds up a model like this. Now, that transparent bottom of the vat is called the FEP sheet. I have no idea what FEP stands for. It's probably some chemical name or something. But essentially what it is it is a fairly stiff plastic that is highly transparent, 95% transparent. I think that is the average for most FEP sheets. And they need to be taut like a drum head. So when you actually print these things, it sticks to both the build plate and the FEP once it's exposed to UV, because it cures, it turns into a plastic, and that plastic is jammed between these two things. Now you want it to stick harder to the build plate than you want it to stick to the bottom of the vat. And that's why the FEP sheet is so special, because the FEP sheet is specifically designed to have a lower sticking force than the build plate, which is basically brushed aluminum in my case. So when the build plate goes up, the model stays stuck to the build plate and not stuck to the FEP. Because as you can imagine, if the build plate goes up and the model stays here, or what you've printed here, when the build plate comes back down, it tries to print the next layer, there isn't any room. The resin hasn't come in underneath. So you'll just print nothing. The build plate will get steadily and steadily higher, and it'll never actually print anything. That is a classic failed print. Now, in my case, that's not what happened. In my case, I have had a few failed prints. There's a hilarious... I think I threw it away. But I was trying to print a gelatinous cube, once again for Dungeons & Dragons, and it didn't come out a cube, it came out a two-dimensional square. Because it printed the first layer, and then it just got stuck to the FEP, and the build plate kept going up and down, and it didn't actually print anything more. I just ended up with a little square of translucent stuff. So that was a failed print. Now, sometimes when you have failed prints, it'll leave little bits of residue in the resin, some actual cured resin that's floating around in the resin, and you might not see it. And then when you go to print, the build plate comes down, and it comes down on top of that chunk, and it pushes it into the FEP. And in my case, that's what happened. And now I've got a big dent in my FEP sheet. The problem with my printer, we'll just accept this. The problem with my printer is that the vat has a specially designed 3 table for 1. I'll be back in 2 days and I'll give you 1 stone mold. No thanks, that's fine. The FEP at the bottom of the vat, while replaceable, can only be replaced by the manufacturer's FEPs, which is any cubic, which is not bad, but they're super rare and hard to get and really expensive. And basically the price it was going to cost me for 2 replacements, admittedly, it would have been 2 replacements, and postage was almost half the price of the whole machine. So no, I decided not to do that. Instead, I've actually bought entirely new vats from a different manufacturer of 3D printers, which still fits my printer, although not as perfectly. Everyone online says, look, it fits. It's not perfect, but it fits. So I bought a different manufacturer's vats, and their FEP sheets are replaceable with any FEP sheets. You just buy them. They look like a screen protector. You take the holder off the bottom of the vat. You take the 2 parts apart. You stretch it inside that holder like a drum head. You squeeze it, you screw it back together, and then you reinsert it into the bottom of the vat, and voila, you have yourself a new FEP on an existing vat. And also, it was cheap, basically through Amazon. It's not that it was cheap, it's that I couldn't buy less than 2 vats. So I've actually got 2 replacement vats coming. And this being Amazon, they're also coming tomorrow, and I ordered them an hour ago. So go Amazon. I'm pretty happy with that. Look, this is my first 3D printer. I bought them because at the moment, any cubic stuff is super cheap. They've been on sale since before Christmas, and now they're having a supposed Valentine's Day sale, but really it's not. Everything has just been this cheap for a while now. It cost me very little to get both the printer and the curing station. So the second thing that you can see, the one that's yellow, what did I just throw on the floor? Oh, a sticky note with someone's email address on it. That's fine. The second machine, the yellow one that you can see behind this great big vat, that is a curing and cleaning station. So when you finish printing a 3D resin model, because of the way it prints, it's still got some extra runny resin on it, and you need to clean that off. So that big Tupperware that's full of slightly green liquid, that is actually just full of isopropyl alcohol. It has a magnetic stirrer in the bottom. You place it on the wash and cure station. The wash and cure station has a magnet in it that spins the magnetic stirrer inside the big vat full of isopropyl alcohol. You put your models inside there, and it cleans all the excess resin off them. Now, curing, even though as the printer prints, it is exposing the each layer to UV, the more UV you expose it to, the more cured it becomes and the more solid and perfectly set the model becomes. Now, resin is a little bit toxic. Certain resins are more toxic than others. I'm using the plant-based resin, which is actually the least toxic. I don't know which manufacturer makes the least toxic plant-based resin, but there are several, like most manufacturers make one now. Now, the other thing is the smell. A lot of people will complain about the smell of different resins. So some plant-based, this is going to turn into me basically talking about my 3D printer. Oh well. The plant resins, they don't smell as much. They're not as toxic. However, you still need to wear gloves. You should still wear a mask. You don't want to get particulates. You certainly don't want to accidentally swallow any of it, get any of it in your eyes. You don't want to get it on your skin. Some people have an extremely strong adverse reaction to some of the resins, especially the non-plant-based ones, to the point where it looks like chemical burns. So don't get it on you. You need to take precautions. I wear gloves. I'm only wearing disposable surgical masks because I'm not so worried about inhaling the fumes because this is a plant-based resin. I am really worried about accidentally splashing some of it on my face. I should probably wear goggles as well. I have a set of goggles right here. I don't wear the goggles. I do wear the masks. The masks are easy enough to get. And same with the gloves. You know, you can buy the gloves from most hardware stores for pretty cheap. You can buy like packs of 100. I'm also going to need more gloves because now that I'm printing so many models, I'm also printing larger models. So this is Luna from Hell of a Boss. I've never actually seen said cartoon, but this was a free model. This cost me nothing to get the actual files to print her. And I've printed her at 150% the size that the original artist probably intended. Well, intended, because she's been printed at 150% the size. Now, she needs a lot of cleaning. There's a lot of sort of molding, well, not molding lines. So you don't get molding lines like you do in injection plastic, but what you do get is you get support lines. So these models need to be printed with supports, because as you can imagine, if you're trying to print like this elbow, and you started down here, like, you can't print off that. You've got to have something here that actually supports said elbow. And when you take the supports off, they leave these little tiny little divots. But if you're going to paint something, those little divots are going to show up. I have some supports in my bin that I can show you. These are supports. It's just a crap load of little sticks that attach to the model. And these are actually the supports for Luna's tail. So that's pretty big because Luna's tail was massive. Now the rest of Luna I printed solid. So every single layer is there, but I had to print her tail hollow. So I actually hollowed out the the program does it for you automatically, but I hollowed out the 3D structure internally because otherwise it was going to use like half a bottle of resin just to print her tail alone. And having done that, you don't actually want uncured resin inside something. Now this is transparent, but it happens to be transparent green, which is incredibly UV blocking. That's why the cover to my printer is green. So to prevent this being full of uncured resin, you have to print drainage holes. And as you can see on the bottom of her tail, there are a ton of little drainage holes. It's kind of hard to see because it's going to shine in the ring light, and also I'm only on small screen, not full screen. I'm trying to get it. And of course my preview is so far delayed. No, you still can't see it. Anyway, there you can kind of see it. All right, there's a whole bunch of holes. And yeah, so the resin has to drain out of that. I was saying something else before I got distracted by that. Oh yeah, so she's going to need some finishing before I can actually paint her, which is going to require... So there's a couple of different methods. Most people just use Milliput. But for these tiny little pinprick holes, there was a method that I saw online that I thought I'd give a go. And that is you actually just get some resin and a toothpick and a UV light. And you just pick up a little tiny dollop of resin and you spread it very, very thinly over the hole. and then you use the UV lamp or your curing station if you have one to just set the resin, and then that will set hard, and then you can sand over it. Now I bought the UV lamp, and I've tried it on a model that failed, and I just played around to see how I can do it, and it works. It's very hard to get a thin enough coat, and I don't want to destroy a brush with resin either, so I don't know. We'll see. I might buy Milliput and see if Milliput's better before I commit to doing that. But yeah. So where I was going with explaining all of these models and stuff is that because I now have much bigger models and a lot more models, I'm going to be getting back into painting, and so I bought an airbrush. So more show and tell. Where is the damn airbrush gone? I don't know where I put that. Oh, there it is. So that's the airbrush. It's not a very expensive airbrush. It's just a airbrush. It's my first airbrush, baby's first airbrush. I've never moved my microphone so much so often. Baby's first airbrush. It is a dual action airbrush, so push down for air and pull back for paint. So at least I will be getting that practice. Now, compressors are expensive, and the coming thing, that is my compressor. It's a little handheld compressor, uses a rechargeable battery, gives you about, they say about 45 minutes to half an hour, somewhere within that vicinity's worth of compression per battery. I've only got one. I couldn't actually find a set where you get two batteries. Not available in Australia. I really wanted two batteries, but we'll see how we go. I might buy a more expensive version of this if this is good. Now this one's also good because it has standard fittings, so you can put a standard airbrush on it, so you can buy a more expensive, better quality airbrush at a later date if you so wish. But yeah, I'm going to try my hand at airbrushing as well, which means I also need to buy a spray booth, a mini spray booth, and I haven't got the money for that yet. Why is this house not building? What are you doing? What is wrong with this house? What is going on? Ah, they're not doing it because I stole the table and chair. Unbelievable. You couldn't work out to make another table and chair? When they finish the table and chair, then the house will be finished. Alright, so we'll get to it. Now they've reached level 2, which means I think that farmer can now start farming silkweed, which I desperately need. Yes. Excellent. Alright, we can also harvest all of this silkweed, but yeah, I was too busy talking about my 3D printer. It's cool, but it is another hobby that I don't need because I have too many hobbies as it is. I already play games with most of my time. Ooh, see, now my net worth isn't enough. I already play spend a lot of time playing games. I play way too many games. And now I do 3D printing. Now mostly the 3D printing just happens in the background, but painting absolutely does not. Painting takes time. You need to devote time to it. The other hobby I have is drones. Now, I have news on the drone front as well. So my drone broke. I crashed it, got a replacement motor, and then I crashed it again and needed another replacement motor. So I'm now down. I basically broke my Mobula 6. I could buy another motor and replace it, and the Mobula 6 would work fine, but I was like, you know what? It's time we got a new drone. We wanted a new drone for a while. Let's get a new drone. Let's also promote someone to being... you're going to be a thingy later. Being my herbalist. I also really need another farmer now. So it's time to get a second farmer. Farmer's hoe. Craft one. Excellent. There we go. Now it's a house. Where was I? Oh, yes. So, the reason that I broke it is I was starting to fly my drone outside, and I cratered into the ground really, really hard and knocked the motor wires off the motor. I wasn't able to do anything like to repair those motor wires. Like I can't reach the part of the motor that it needs to be soldered onto. So I gave up and said, all right, I can buy another motor and repair this at a later date. I'm not going to get rid of it, but let's get something else. So I bought a Mobeetle 6, which is basically the same, except it's a little bit smaller footprint. It's actually a smaller drone, but it comes with two frames, an indoor whoop frame, which is the frames with the hoops around it, and an outdoor twig frame. I don't know. It flies outdoors as well as indoors. This is it. So it's pretty small, it's tiny, it's a cool drone. The problem is, I've had it for almost 2 months and I have not been able to get it to fly yet. It just fails every single time I try to fly it. It gives me telemetry lost, telemetry recovered, telemetry lost, telemetry recovered in a continuous loop without ever flying. And if I ever do get the telemetry to sort of stay connected for long enough to actually arm the drone and have it fly, it doesn't lift off, it does this, and then starts to spin like that immediately. So I don't know what's wrong, I have no idea. I've been troubleshooting it like every sort of week. I put a couple of hours into trying to work out what the hell is wrong with it, and I cannot work out what the hell is wrong with it. I'm at the point now where I'm probably going to contact the manufacturer, or maybe just the place I bought it from, and say, hey look, I've done nothing to it. I haven't been able to fly it. I've had it for months and I still haven't been able to get this thing off the ground. Like, it didn't work out of the box. It still doesn't work. I cannot fly it. Can I return it to you and get my money back, and maybe I'll buy something else in the future? And then maybe I'll just fix the Mobula. And we'll go to flying outdoors at a later date. So the whole point of this one was it comes with a frame that is designed to be flown outdoors. So these frames with the ducts, it's also a bent frame. Like, the frame is really warped on this back end. I'm not happy about that either, but I don't seem to be able to bend it back into shape. It certainly won't hold its shape when I try to bend it. It's just warped. Either that, or I'll just chalk it up to a lemon, and you bought a lemon and you're stuck with a lemon, and maybe I'll buy something else. But yeah, I was really disappointed that I couldn't get this one going, because the idea was to get this going, fly around inside until I was used to it, and then turn it into an outdoor drone and spend more time flying outdoors where I have the space to do more tricks and things. But now I can't do it. Now the motors are also different from this one to the Mobula 6, so I can't use one of these as a replacement motor for the Mobula 6. Yeah. It's very disappointing that this didn't just work out of the box like the Mobula 6 was. They're supposed to. They're supposed to be as good and as easy as the Mobula 6, and it just did not. It bound to my radio immediately and then just failed. And I don't know what's wrong with it. I've been trying to find it. It doesn't look like anyone else has my problem. I'm messing with it. But I have too many hobbies. So now I don't have time to fly drones, paint models, print models, and play video games, and go to work. But I'm going to try to do all those things. I must be crazy for trying to do all those things. But I'm nonetheless going to try to do all those things. Blah, 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 blah. Frost snap seeds, thanks. I don't remember what to do with frost snap seeds, but we might plant them, because I'm sure that's what you do with frost snap seeds. Grow healing herbs, hey? Sure, let's just put them there. That'll work. More silkweed seeds, that's good. Let's put them there. Gokugan, thank you very much. Or Gokugan? Probably go, rather than goo. The follow is always appreciated. Now, let's see. I need to get rid of all of these lanterns so that I can replace them with the stone lanterns. And then I've got to get the smith. Now I've got ones on the outside of the house as well. I need to get him crafting more stuff, because otherwise he's never going to level up and I'm never going to have access to his higher tier things. However, I've been talking for so long about crap and what's been going on that I have not done lots of construction that I should have done. So let's see. The herbalist can make his own bench. You better make your own bench, buddy, because you can't make things until you've got a bench to make it with. There are other things I can do, like I can build more houses. I can also... The carpenter should be capable of making beds yet. No, there's still no bolts of cloth freely available. I do need bolts of cloth to be freely available so he can start making things like that. But yeah, let's uninstate all of these. Oh, and now we're out of storage space. So I need to make another storage space. So we'll just make a second storage space right next to the first storage space. Why not? That will work fine. There you go. Yeah, so when they finish uninstating these, I can instead instate the stone ones, which in my opinion look a bit crapper, but are increase my net worth more. So we'll put them in instead. And then next time a merchant comes along, I will sell them the wooden ones that I'm now no longer using. We can place the herbalist lab inside a house so that he has somewhere to work. Let's set the stonemason to building something, because you've got to build something. You can't sit there doing nothing, buddy. Why don't you build me 4 bird baths? Right, we're going to run out of stone soon as well, so I'm going to have to start actually moving towards all the way up here where the stone is. Now, there are smaller little bricks. I don't know whether you can harvest this massive statue, but the stone is still good. Cool. Alright, we'll harvest that whole thing for all of its stone. I don't know what happens if you take these down. For all I know, you get attacked or something. Guess we'll find out. Now, I need the carpenter to do something as well. What are you doing? Can you make me anything that's good? You can totally make me some crates for storing things, can't you? What about work shelf? Freshly crafted items. For any resources to help keep crafters supplied. New resources to help keep crafters supplied. Let's make it a wooden supply rack. So give me 2 of those for now, and we'll work on it. We'll see what we really need. Explorer approaches your town. Rooster found 2 autonomous cricket golem just sitting next to the road. I'm not sure. What? 4 farmers hoe. I'll be relaxing nearby for 3 days. Would you be interested in a trade at that time? 2 autonomous cricket golem. I don't think I've ever seen that. Let's find out. So an explorer will be back in 3 days to collect 4 farmers hoes. So I set my thingy to making me 4 of those. Now he has made the first bench, so let's see about putting that in his house, right next to his thing. And I'll see if I can get them to turn that into a storage for wood. Maybe that will mean he won't have to travel as far for wood, because the wood will be in his house. Right. Only thing I want stored in there is wood. Yes? Yes. Excellent. Yeah, I should have made bigger houses. These are not the ideal size houses. They're not bad, but they're not the ideal size houses. You can get better houses than this. Oh well. Right. Basically all that the herbalist can really make is tonics. And I tend to just sell them because I don't know how to use them. I don't know how to get the soldiers to use them. But you've got to get your herbalist up to a high enough level to turn them into a cleric, which is what you really want. But yeah, so we'll get the herbalist just building whatever continuously, because that way I will actually have... Right, let's put a bird bath. Every house gets a bird bath somewhere. Why? Because it makes the village look more pretty. Absolutely useless item. This is the herbalist's house, so let's put the herbalist sign above his door, because what's the point of putting it above anyone else's door? That appears to work. Now I've got another bench. The problem is the weaver's house is so full I can't even fit the bench in. So weaver, you don't get a bench because your house is too full of crap already. Too bad. You're going to have to keep running backwards and forwards from the storage depot. I might just start making bigger houses from now on. It was a bad idea to make houses this small. They need to be bigger than that. So these poor original workers get crappy little houses. So now I've got my net worth there, but now I don't have enough food. Yeah, so I need a second farmer. Didn't I make an extra farmer's hoe? I think I've got 5 farmer's hoes now, and I don't have another farmer yet, so... You! Do you want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres for you. It's a very old Arnold Schwarzenegger joke from... I reckon it's Kindergarten Cop. Alright, now I don't know how many hoes I've got left. I've got 1, 2, 3. Is there another one hiding underneath that? 4. I think I do. Okay. So when that guy comes back, I've got his hoes and I've got 2 farmers, which means we should now have enough farmers to keep all of these plots going at once, because before we didn't have enough. They were too busy. They couldn't manage all the 2 food crops and the silkweed, which we need because otherwise the tailor can never get far enough ahead with his stuff. Izzy Bulb has achieved Weaver level 2. Excellent. What can you make now that you couldn't make before? Anything? I don't know. Anyway, they're going to be able to make armor soon, which is nice. So we'll get to that, and that will increase the armor on my soldier. My soldier will become a better soldier. The other thing I want to do is I can also start replacing these beds with better beds. But I really need more houses. We don't have enough houses. Let's make another house. It's about time, as I said, we started making some bigger houses. So let's go that big. Tis a bigger house because the old house was not good enough. It was too small. Give them a door. Everybody deserves a window. Ah, let's use the stone window. I bet you they're the exact same. You can't preview what things are worth in here. Let's go to here. Wooden window frame. 4.6 versus wooden diamond. 2.6. Okay, so that one is worth the most. 4.6. What about the mason's version? Wide. I can go 5.7 or 4.6. Alright. We might use the carpenter's version just because... Oops. Where are we? That one. The stonecutter's version. Oh. Crossbeam stone window frame. We might use that just because otherwise he's not doing anything. Also 4.6. Okay, that's fine. So we'll use the stone one. Oh, jeez, where are we? Here we are. Crossbeam stone window frame. Bring the walls up. Everybody deserves a window. I don't know about 2. That's pushing it. Anything I'm made of resources? Right. But what we will do is we will put in the nice bed. And the dining table. And the comfy chair. I think I am putting these too close. I think they need to be there. Otherwise people don't sit on them. I haven't seen anyone sit on them, so do they need to be there? Otherwise people don't sit on them. I don't know. Might have to rearrange things in all the other houses. Now we will also need a bird bath. We absolutely need a bird bath. Sure, there should be a bird bath. Plushy toy rabbit. Wow. No, we don't need a plushy toy rabbit at the moment, but what we will build is we will build a simple stone lantern for the front of the house. Let's put it more central. And the same for the interior of the house. So there's a little bit of light. Anything else that I really need? Nothing really. Let's call that a house. Pop a roof on it. Build. Oh. Thanks for that. I did not know that that's how the herbalist works. So, unlike the cleric, which heals in the field, the herbalist heals when they're in the bed, which means that you can have your wounded soldiers heal faster outside of combat. Okay, that's still really good. I did not know that that was how that works. That's good. I'm still more interested in getting the cleric, so I'm probably still going to spend a lot of time making potions that I won't use because I just want to get them to cleric level. I found that to be the most effective. I mean, I'm not very good at this game. I just think it's a cool game. And I haven't played it in ages. It's been... Actually, it hasn't been that long. It was like May 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. I can't remember what Steam said, and now that I've played it, of course, I've lost that. So I don't know how to look up when the last time I played it before that was. But it's a good game. It's fun. And I thought it'd be good to stream it while I was doing my comeback stream, since it's been so long. Several months since I last streamed. I need to get back in the swing of things. Hey, Mason level 2. Excellent. So now they can make better things as well. Tall stone window frame. 5.7. That's worth more money. Double wide door. 8.8. I think that's the same as the double wide what's his name door. The better lanterns. We will eventually replace the old lanterns with these. They can also now make a cook spoon and the potter's cutter, which we'll get to. What level farmer do you have to be a cook? Just a level 2 farmer, so I can already make my first cook if I wanted to. I'm not ready to do that yet. I need to get my food up so that I can get another villager, another hearthling. I'm going to plant the pumpkins now. I need to get another hearthling in so that I can, well, more hearthlings in, because I'm running out of people. I don't have enough people. I've only got 9 people. I would normally be doing better than this, but I did spend a long time just talking about my 3D printer and my drones and my airbrush and what other hobbies do I have? No, that's probably it. Yes, that's true. I have noticed the poison thing, and clerics won't heal that. And yeah, poison is bad, but you do get poisoned enough, but not so early. I find that when that first goblin encampment starts annoying you, not this one, but the one with the actual goblin king, that is when you kind of really need the cleric more than you need anti-poison for that one. And I haven't gotten much past that. I never said I was good at this game. It's a great game. And maybe I will learn that that is a bad strat. Rushing the cleric might be a bad strat. Or I suppose I could rush the cleric and then just promote another herbalist. When you promote someone, you do get the tool that creates that job back. With doors and windows for sale, that's nice. I don't want any of those. But I'll tell you what, you can have all these old crappy wooden lanterns that I'm not using anymore. Yeah, this is more something to have happening while I am talking, because that's mostly what I'm doing at the moment, is just yammering on, because it's been so long that since I've been on stream that I don't know what I'm doing. I assume OBS and YouTube are running fine. They do look okay. And yes, I can see the chat. I don't know if chat was coming up on screen. I hope it was. Let's just check OBS. No, yeah. Yeah, it is sad. I don't know whether they've moved on to any other games, but you know, this was really good, and they independently published as well. Like, most guys will independently make a game and then get a publisher, and you know, if the game goes really, really well, then they'll normally become a publisher in their own right. Like even Stardew Valley, which is massive. Originally, Chucklefish helped him publish the first one, and he eventually moved away from them, and Chucklefish is no longer his publisher because they had their own controversies and stuff like that. But yeah, most guys normally get someone to help them publish their first game, or even if not, they become a publisher in their own right and they start helping other people publish their games too. But Radiant, as far as I can tell, made this and then disappeared. I don't know if they make anything else. Let's check Steam. Click Radiant Entertainment. StoneHearth. That's it. Let's Google it as well and find out. Radiant got bought by Riot? Okay, so I am a big League of Legends fan for a long time as well, and if that's a bit disappointing, come on Rito, you can do better than that. This is pretty cool. I suppose they're making so much money off League of Legends, and I mean, I don't know whether you make money off Arcane, but I assume they did. What else have they got? Valorant and the other little bits and pieces. They don't need to do this, but then why would they buy it? If you weren't interested in the IP, did you just want to buy the developers because you thought they'd be good on your teams? Maybe there's a StoneHearth too, and we just don't know. And Riot's been quietly working on it for years. That'd be wonderful. It is very sad when really good games get bought by someone who's not interested in making sequels or making improvements. And you just get a game that basically goes somewhere to die. It's really a massive shame, and it does happen. Wouldn't surprise me if it happened to this, but I'm gonna keep playing it. I mean, I'm playing it now. It's at least slightly bringing it again into the community's eye. Hey, look, there's this really cool game that really deserves to have a sequel or get updates again. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's another one that was actually very similar to this that died. It was more pixel art. It was isolinear, orthographic. I forget what that viewpoint is called Towns. That was kind of like you've got to build towns to attract heroes who go into underground dungeons to battle. It's kind of like reverse Dungeon Keepers. And that was also very good, and that became abandonware at some point. Dark Out was a 2D side-scrolling crafting survival game in the vein of Terraria, but less pixel graphics, more high-resolution graphics, and more story-based. Authorized community expansion was maybe one of the developers of the game. Ah, nice. I'll have a look into that. Because it would be nice. Ah, man, I was so close. It would be nice to have more for this game. But again, like I said, I'm not very good at it. So, I mean, do I want to finish like get better at the content that exists in the base game before I move on to that. But it is great that it was developed by the developers. You do see that a lot as well when games get bought by bigger companies and then nothing happens, like they just sit there like this one has. That, yeah, the developers themselves go, well, that sucks. I'm going to make a mod. And then they just expand their own game through mods that are semi-official, like the officially unofficial, if you get what I mean. But yeah, Dark Out was great. I've got so many good games that just never saw another one. And there are so many good independent or little developers who made, yeah, StoneHearth updated. Excellent. Yeah, I'll definitely have a look into it. So many little developers that made wonderful games that didn't get looked at enough. You know, their niche. But there are enough people in that niche that like more people needed to know about it. And I mean, then you get every now and again when that happens, you end up with something like Minecraft. Like at the time, 3D graphics, everything was going for realism. And then Minecraft came out and it's like, nah, I'm not going to play that. It looks terrible. And a lot of people slept on Minecraft because they couldn't get over the fact that the graphics were blocky and it was about gameplay. Now, that being said, even those blocky graphics stretch a graphics card pretty hard and stretch a processor pretty hard because it's, of course, a voxel-based world that is... It's not infinite, but it's massive. It's huge. And even just the visual range that you can have when set to maximum. Plus, then I play it in RTX, and, you know, I've only got a 2080 Super. And, okay, that's a good graphics card, but it's a very early RTX card. And the RTX cores aren't great. And it stretches it. It really stretches it. So, yeah, you get things like that as well, where there's these games that people will just, nah, that looks graphically crap. I can't play that. Is it Alexander Pope, the guy who made Papers, Please, and then Return of the Obra Dinn? Like, neither of those games are graphically amazing until you play them, and then you're like, actually, this is graphically really impressive. If you understand the concept of the graphical style and then play them, it's like, wow, these are actually really well done within that style. And those are amazing games, and a lot of people just won't play them because it's like, nah, it just looks too crap. I have friends who will not watch Disney movies because they're animated movies. Like, I'm trying to tell them things like, or not just Disney as well. Zootopia. Now, I don't care if they don't watch the whole of Zootopia, and eventually I got them to watch it on YouTube. But the sloth scene in Zootopia was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a long time. Like, especially the first time you see it, I laughed so hard I nearly peed. And I can't get them to watch it because they're like, nah, it's animated. And eventually I got them to just watch just that scene on YouTube. And I mean, there's other good bits in that movie. And there are so many other really good movies. Like, the Toy Story movies are absolutely amazing. And I can't get them to watch Toy Story. Like, they're just missing all those references. So like, nah, it's animated. I don't watch animated things. It's like, dude, you are missing out. And yeah, the sloths, the sloth scene is just amazing. Just, oh man, sloths, and that's the DMV. That would explain so many things as well. And especially that is the end credit scene as well. Nick. Gotta love Flash. Anyway, yeah, I mean, stuff like that. So, yeah, there will always be people who just won't consume a kind of media, whether that be a video game or a movie or a genre of music, because of preconceived notions about it. And they're like, no, don't watch animated stuff. It's like, why not? You know, that's a very hard line to take that removes you from a chunk of the human experience. You're missing out. That being said, I'm a massive fan of Riot stuff, and I still have not got around to watching Arcane. And I have access to it because I believe it's Amazon Prime? Whichever one it is, I know I have access to it. Admittedly, it's not my subscription, but my mum gets everything. Oh, it's Netflix. Still have access to Netflix. I kind of don't now that they've changed their new IP thing where they actually check. I would have to take my computer back to my parents' place and log in once a month, I think. And I'm not doing that. But that being said, I could totally do it on my tablet and just go down there and log my tablet in and then stream my tablet to my big 55-inch TV in the lounge with, I don't know, something. And that'd work, and I could just drop in at my parents' place like once a week or whatever, because I drop in there more often than that anyway. But yeah, I have not got around to watching Arcane. So the only thing I really know about it is what I already knew. Vi and Jinx are sisters. And Jace is gay, which I pretty much predicted. I didn't predict Victor to also be gay. I would have thought Heimerdinger would be gay too, but oh well. You know, that's my preconceived notions. He's just super nerdy. Jace. What did I say? Jay? Jax? No, Jace. Yeah, so I heard. He's gay. And so's Victor. Oh well. I kind of picked Jace. Jace, I got the impression that he was going to be gay anyway. I thought Jinx was going to be gay, to be honest. Who else? There's a few other characters where I'm like, yeah, I would pick them to be gay. I would pick them to be gay. I wasn't, to this day, I wasn't sure if Jinx wasn't trans. It's like, oh, could be trans. But Jinx is also my favorite character to play, and just as a character too, because just that chaos lover. There's something about that archetype of character that I really dig. And other than that, it's probably like my favorite character to play is Morgana. I'm a Morgana main. I'm a support main. Morgana, Leona. Those are my two best characters. No, I don't want to trade anyone else for Farmer's Hose. Isn't that guy going to be back in 29 hours? Excellent. But Lulu. Like, I know everybody hates Lux's laugh, and Lulu's laugh is up there, but I just like Lulu. I remember seeing videos of the girl who does her voice, and someone had met her at a Comic-Con or something, and it had been so long since she'd done Lulu's voice. They needed to tell her what the lines were. But when they told her what the lines were, she's like, oh, now I remember Lulu. And she started doing the Lulu voice, and I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. Season 3, 4. Dropped the game on Season 6. Yeah, I don't even know what season we're up to. I played rank for several seasons, and I could not get out of Silver. I would get to Silver 1, and I couldn't beat the gold gatekeepers, the guys who were just always at the top of Silver. I just couldn't get out of Silver. I went from Silver 1 to Silver 2 to Silver 1 like 8 or 9 times during the course of a season, and I'm like, well, didn't make it this season, and I did that for 3 seasons running, and so I basically stopped playing ranked. Because I was like, well, I guess I'm Silver. I guess I'm not gold. And that was before they introduced, what is it now, the Iron tier? It's not wood. Everyone says wood, but I think there's the Iron tier. But I did play again not that long ago, and I think I ended up at the top of Bronze, but I didn't even play enough games to actually get to any promotions. So I don't know. I placed at the top of Bronze, and I didn't get to promotions to Silver. Or maybe I placed at the bottom of Silver, I can't remember. But yeah, mostly these days I just play Aram or Earth. Earth's up at the moment, and I'm really enjoying Earth. I'm not even playing StoneHearth anymore. I'm mostly just talking. I've got to try and play. Why is this house not finishing? What are we missing here? The beds. Why can't you print the beds? You should have enough silkweed by now. You should totally have enough cloth. What are you doing, Weaver? Yeah, there's enough bolts of cloth and enough thread. Why can you not make the bed? There's enough wood. You can't make the bed? Oh, requires a carpenter of level 3. Whoops. Oh, nobody is a carpenter of level 3. Carpenter's tool bench. Oh, I don't have the upgraded bench. You idiot. I don't remember what Cassidy was like season 3, but he's pretty busted in Earth. He's not the worst. But he's pretty busted in general. Like, I mean, some of the stuff, his ultimate, like, dude, it's like Zoe's on steroids. I mean, yes, I know it costs more every time you do it, which is why in Earth it's a joke, because it doesn't cost anything more. But just his ability to get in and out. And then that magic shield, like that AP shield is mad. It's so much. And then his damage is really high. Cassidy's a great champ. I just suck at him, so I don't really play him. But I think he's awesome. There are some other people that are just like ridiculous. And there's things like... so Riot has very much admitted that they overtune all new champs so that people play them when they first come out, so that everyone knows how they play and sort of understands their kit for when they play them or play against them, and then they nerf them over the next few patches. But they always release them overpowered. So people like Nyla, when she came out, was just a joke. Seraphine was unbelievably strong, and then yeah, slowly they nerf them back, and then they sort of come back into order. And a lot of them end up being damn near useless after that. But yeah, Cassidy, I've always said, stays up there. Yi, man, if you are in bronze or silver, Yi is just a pain, because you're unlikely to have a team composition that can deal with him. Like, you need a Malzahar or a Leona, or you've just got to be better than them. And if they're silver and you're silver, you're not better than them, you're the same. Oh yeah, and the massive amount of silence, yes. Characters with silence are unbelievable. Like, people sleep on... Cho'Gath support is ridiculous. Like, someone jumps on your ADC and you silence them, and then they're still trying to chase your ADC through the silence because they know the silence is about to run out, but then you know where they're going to be, and you knock them up into the air, and now your ADC is half a screen away, peppering them, and you're still standing there with your 1,000,001 hit points waiting to use your ulti. That's a lot of stuff for a silence. That's crazy. And there are other characters. I'm trying to think of who else has a silence. But silence is extremely underrated. Knockups are superior to binds. Absolutely superior to binds. Maybe not necessarily superior to stuns. Probably superior to stuns. I mean, they're knockups. You can still feed a Yasuo his ultimate with Cho'Gath, with Gragas, with anyone else who's got a knockup. But again, yeah, I play Morg, so it's the bind. So you're stuck in place, but you can still act. A lot of people don't think about that. They're like, why didn't you bind them? I'm like, I did bind them. Did you see they were bound? That doesn't mean they can't act. Her chains of whatever, they stun. They don't, and they only stun on the second one. But the binding binds. It holds you in place. That's it. And then there's other cool stuff. Zoe's a lot of fun to play. I do like playing Zoe. I wouldn't say she's my favorite. And when she first came out, I played her a lot of support because Sleepy Trouble Bubble was OP. It was way too strong when it first came out. And especially if you're a roaming support. Morg binds. It's like a disconnect. Sleepy Trouble Bubble was just OP. I played a lot of characters at their release and tried them as support, and there's a few of them that I still can play. Poppy, when the rework came in, made a really good support. If you had people like Lucian, or they've got a Rengar was really popular. Not necessarily at the time that Poppy's rework happened, but there was a period where Rengar was just up there, and he was the jungler to have. And I would just play Poppy, and it's like, you hear the Rengar growl, and you wait a few seconds, and then you pop it, and you stand on top of your ADC, and Rengar jumps into it, and then you can see him, and then you just lock him in place. But yeah, he's a miserable thing to deal with. Like, if they have Rengar and Kha'Zix, it's like, oh, for crying out loud, why do you need that many assassins? Akali rework, when they initially reworked her, she was crazy OP. Now she's more balanced, but she's still a mad assassin. Zed has always been where he is now. He is super powerful in the hands of someone who knows what they're doing. You basically need so much hit points that you can deal with him, or a Zonya's. Otherwise, you're pretty much stuck. Come on, dude. Oh, wait, he's built it. I haven't placed it. Oops. Once again, I spend more time talking than actually playing the damn game. Let's put it at the foot of the bed. That'll make it work. So we've got a Frost Snap seed. Let's place that. And another Silkweed seed. Let's place that, because could always do with more Silkweed. Right, now you should get done. She should get done. Excellent. But yeah, I mean, that's... people can... Like, what's the alternative? Dota players, Dota 2 players, like, why do you need that many champions? It's like, well, because then the game cannot ever get stale. There's always something new that you didn't consider that is now part of the meta that you're going to have to deal with. Yeah, maybe we don't need that many players, that many characters. I don't know what we're up to. It's got to be over 150 now. There's a lot of damn characters. But the game is never stale. There's always something happening. There's always a new character to learn. There's always a new meta. And I played Dota when it was a Warcraft 3 map. And I saw that. Like, you always needed more characters. I was always looking for the next update to Dota to see what new characters there were. That's what kept the game interesting. It's like, oh yeah, we've played all of these. We know how all of these work. We know how to play against them. We know how to play with them. What's new? Yeah, Dota All-Stars, that's right. I don't know what version it was when I finally finished playing, but yeah, I played that for a long, long time. There was also a really good tower defense game in that one that I don't remember what it was called, but that was my first exposure to tower defense games, and I kind of liked some of those as well. Not all of them, but occasionally there's a really good tower defense game, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind playing more games like that. I'm just going to build another house so that they're busy. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. I've just been talking and talking and talking, but that's okay. We'll just let these people live in peace and harmony. But yeah, Dota was great when it first came out, and as far as I'm concerned, League of Legends I just like more. It feels faster. I might even be wrong about that. It might not be faster, but it feels faster, and that's what I like about it. It doesn't surprise me that people still play Dota All-Stars, but no, I didn't know. But like I said, I'm not remotely surprised. That's just to be expected, that people would still be playing that. And my understanding is there were a couple of guys who made it, who made Dota All-Stars, and one or two of them went to make League of Legends and start Riot, and one or two of them went to make Dota. And then Blizzard tried to sue both of them because it was made in Warcraft, and they lost because it was so different from Warcraft that they couldn't claim anything, basically. And then they made Storm something, which wasn't bad. I tried that. It was alright, but I couldn't get into it. Again, it was too slow. League is faster, like you said, yes. I just preferred League. League was better. I'm just going to sell 10 of those. What am I doing? I need to put a roof on that. The roof is on fire. I hope not. Build. Yeah, so I tried a lot of Dota, and I played, again, mostly support. I can't remember the names. Ice Queen and her sister, the fire one, and I played Broodmother middle, and the guy with the hook. But yeah, League. Someone introduced me to League because they had a Mac, and Pudge, that's the one. Someone introduced me to League because they had a Mac, and there were very few games we could play together, and he's like, oh, there's this one. And he introduced me to League, and I didn't know what I was doing. He's like, oh, try Morgana. She's so powerful. She's awesome. And I got, in my second game against some people in a normal, I got a pentakill right underneath their Nexus turrets. Like, I mean, the team set me up mostly, but that was back when Morg's binding chains used to heal her, and I got under the turrets, but I hit all 5 of them, and they were all low, and the healing was enough to keep me up so that I could walk out from under the turrets afterwards, and they all died. And it was epic, and I've never had such a cool Morgana thing since. I've had a pentakill with Leona. That was just a moment of insanity where a Ziggs bomb went off and got everyone so low that my Leona W proc, Sunbreak, whatever the hell it's called, that W proc killed like 3 people, and then I hit someone else with the sword, and then someone else with a Q, and they just went down, and I happened to get all the kills. And it was like pentakill, and I'm like, how did I get a pentakill on Leona? Also, my ADC is still alive, and they got very little of this money. That is not good. I've had weird ones like that. But then there's other ones like, Zyra. I played a lot of Zyra. I don't like her as much as other things. I think she's better as a sort of a mid-mage, as in, yeah, look, I might not get a lot of kills, but you ain't pushing mid. Well, that's how I play her. You could play her more aggressively and stuff. Zac is overtuned at the moment because if you go full AP, squishies just die and you just walk away with like 80% of your health. Zac is crazy. I've seen a lot of that. I was very disappointed to see Shiva become... Is it Shiva? I think it's Shiva. The Dragon Lady become an AP mage. So the more common way to see her built now is AP, I shoot you with my ultimate breath, and then I run away. The AD bruiser that she used to be... Shyvana, not Shiva. When she used to be an AD bruiser, I liked her more. I played her better when she was a bruiser. And these days, you don't see a lot of people... Yeah, a lot of people... She's not pure AP. She has ratios in both directions, but the ratio on her dragon's breath when she is a dragon is now massive. Okay, it might be time to get a second soldier. Footman level 2. Excellent. It's time to get a second soldier. Let's make another practice sword. Another shield. The explorer returns. Accept. I don't know what these golems are, but apparently I'm going to get 2 cricket golems. How are you doing? Yeah, you're fine. We'll absolutely win that battle, but we'll go a second soldier anyway, because, yeah, I just need a second soldier. But yeah, Shyvana, they put such a big ratio on her... It's her E that becomes the massive dragon breath thing with a area of effect when she is in dragon mode using her ultimate. It's so massive that you can basically snipe people from half a screen away, and they take enormous amounts of damage because of the ratio. So she is played more as an AP mage now than as anything else, and I find that extremely disappointing because she's a dragon. She's not an AP mage. I don't think dragons are AP mages. I think dragons are bruisers. They should be a bruiser. Blah, 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 blah. Tradition, indeed, value, blah, 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 blah. Sounds quaint. Blah, 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 blah. Sounds productive. Sounds heroic. We choose... morale of your citizens. New random buff. Hearth of Glory. To prove your mettle. Now, Hearth of Cheer. 5 citizens are released memory and 1. Okay. Yep, definitely need to get to food. Excellent. That's really useful. Yeah, just something that cleans up. Yeah, AP Shyvana is disgusting, and I hate it because it feels wrong. That's not what Shyvana should be. She should not be an AP mage. But now she's an AP mage, and I'm just not a fan. Anybody else go through any cool changes? They changed Aurelian's soul. His Q is no longer the little sphere that gets bigger the further you travel behind it. And his E doesn't let you travel half the map. He goes through walls like Bard, and his Q is more like his dragon, what his ultimate used to be, and that his ultimate is more like what his Q used to be, but it has massive range, so you can shoot it from a distance. It's not global, but it's very, very big. And it takes time to get there, kind of like Bard's ultimate, and it creates a zone on the ground that hurts people and stuns people if they're in the middle. I haven't actually played it yet, but yeah, I liked old Asol. And yeah, he doesn't have a hula hoop of orbiting stars anymore, which means he's allowed to hide in bushes now, which he was never allowed to do before. It was impossible to hide in a bush. It's always funny seeing in Earth when Cho'Gath gets so big, he's physically bigger than the bush, but he's camouflaged when he's standing in the bush. So if you're on his team, you can see that they can't see him, but he's physically twice as big as the bush he's currently standing in. That's hilarious. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, the game goes on, it develops. It's just, it's one of the very few games. Can't find any food. You're not willing to eat pumpkins? What about all this rotten stuff? You can eat that, surely. No, I think it's time that we got to cook. We got enough people now. I needed another soldier. It's definitely time we made a cook. It's definitely time I started doing other things. So one of the other things I normally do... Excellent. One of the other things I normally do is I start... first, let's make a ladder. Because I'm going to need that. And then... some very careful mining. No, it wants to do that. How do you go to vertical again? Alt and mouse wheel. Damn it. Aha! Perfect. No, not perfect. That's too big. I never remember how to... There's a way to do it, and I always do it wrong. Oh well. I'll fix it later. But yeah, I eventually make this into a stairwell. And then the next level up, a stairwell, and then you can start mining the things. It's just the easiest way. I always thought Asol was playable. He just took a bit. You needed to understand how and when to use him. He's not an assassin. He doesn't do massive amounts of damage. But he does do a lot. Oh, and you always get someone stuck on one brick, but that's alright. They tunneled out the brick above them, so that's fine. There's a few others who are just like, wow, you are just too strong. Who the hell made this character and why are they this ridiculous? Can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but yeah. Nyla was absolutely a joke when she came out. The amount of lifesteal. Oh, and lifesteal is just broken. They added Grievous Wounds, which was supposed to make lifesteal less awesome. But then when they added Grievous Wounds, they immediately had to nerf it. Because, oh yeah, I should do that, hey. They immediately had to nerf lifesteal because characters like Yasuo and Olaf could no longer play League of Legends. They just couldn't, because anyone who built even the base lifesteal item that cuts your lifesteal by 40%, and now they couldn't survive. So they had to cut Grievous Wounds in half, and now Grievous Wounds is... Of course you can't find food. You're stuck on a frickin' thing. You're Dumbo, and that's why you can't find food. That is my only thing, is that the AI behind this was not brilliant. It is kind of my fault because I am sticking them on ledges and stuff. That's alright, we'll work that out. So finish making these steps. Wait, what? That's not right. I've done something wrong. That's better. Now they have access to the next tier. And we can delete that. Yeah, again, like I said, I was just chatting today and putting a stream up. And that being said, I have been going for a long time, and I need to do some other things. So, Gokugan, it was great hanging out with you. I hope you enjoyed at least, you know, some part of what I deliver. I chat a lot. I talk to myself if there's no one here. You can always check out my old streams. I have a YouTube channel which is full of crap as well, so if you're interested in any of that. I even play some League of Legends, like my last attempts at playing ranked are on there. So if you're interested, check that out as well. But to anyone else, same thing. Thank you very much for watching. If you do enjoy this, hit a follow. It's the one that helps me out the most. And check out my YouTube channel, which you can find from the About page of my Twitch channel. Now, I only do chat on Twitch. I do stream live to YouTube because I'm not a Twitch affiliate, which means I'm allowed to do that. At some point when you become a Twitch affiliate, you can't actually stream live to YouTube at the same time as Twitch, because Twitch must have a 24-hour exclusivity to your live content. But until then, I do stream live to YouTube. However, you can't chat on YouTube because it just got too confusing with too many chat windows available in the streams. So if you'd like to chat, jump across to Twitch. You can chat there. It comes up on the screen. Everyone can see what everyone else is saying and what I'm responding to, because otherwise half the people couldn't see the questions I was responding to. Other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.